I felt so weak at times. Like, we talked about it before, like sitting in front of a liquor store, really just thinking about taking a bottle to the head.
Yeah.
To try to take away my pain, and you being there telling me not to do it, not to even walk down that road. Like, it's not even he give me the strength through him, but he gave me strength through you.
Mm. What's up, real ones? Welcome back to the Real Relationship Podcast, where we're bringing the real back to relationships.
Yes, sir.
I'm Asha Steele.
And I'm Devin Steele.
And we're so excited that you guys are tuning in today with us.
Yeah, man. We're excited to be back because if you're following us on Instagram, you know, you saw that we had a little family issue last week. So
Aria got sick.
Yeah, so we didn't get to put out an episode last week. And let's just jump right into the just keeping it real moment.
Okay.
Because that's what I want to keep it real about. So last week, Aria, as y'all know, the reason why we've been able to constantly put out episodes now is because Aria started daycare.
Yeah.
Right. And we knew going into this, because Aria has been, isolated because of COVID this whole time. She hasn't really been around other kids. She's been in the house with us, unfortunately, for almost 2 years. We knew that sending her to daycare, it was going to really test her immune system.
Right.
Because she hasn't really been around a lot of germs because her mom is a clean freak. She has OCD. She always spraying stuff down. Pandemic just made it worse. So we knew that she was going to be around nasty little kids, who just
calling the babies
nasty, wiping their snot on toys and like sharing food and like
goodness.
Who knows what all these kids be doing. And, Aria just going to jump right in and be nasty her damn self. So we knew that we was going to expect her to get sick. Yeah. But like she got sick the first week. Mm-hmm. It was cool. It lasted like a day or two.
It wasn't that long.
It wasn't that bad. But last week, Father's Day night,
it was bad.
Like it was bad. Like I think her first temperature was like 101.4.
Yeah.
Like it was crazy. And she just had this crazy fever. She was congested. She was like, it just sounded bad.
Yeah.
So we thought it was going to be like another 1 or 2 day type of thing. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't. Like it lasts for a lot of days. Yeah. And we reached like fevers 104, like some crazy type numbers. Mm-hmm. So Asha took her to the doctors, and they were saying it was probably just a virus. Give her a couple of days, but this thing lasted a week. Am I just keeping a real moment? It's like, being so far removed from Leah being sick, this stuff still scares you. Mm-hmm. Because like when we found out Leah had cancer, she had a fever and she wasn't feeling well. So it's like when you think that you're past that, like, okay, Leah's 2 years cancer free, where we moved on from that phase in our life, and then Aria gets sick and she has these crazy type fevers. Like I can't help but to think that it's something more than it probably really is.
Yeah.
Like your mind just goes back to that moment. And then me trying to protect Asha's mental space, I don't want to tell her what's going on in my mind because I don't want her to think like that too. Like I need one of us to be sane. Yeah. Right. I need one of us not to be going crazy in their mind. So, like last week it was just crazy. So I'm just happy that Aria is doing better now, and we're out of the woods on that one. But that was scary.
Thank God.
Yeah, that was
because like you said, I know. Like you always, not always, but I know for the most part, like when things come up, children get sick or anything, you automatically go to like thinking of the worst. Yeah. And it's like, I don't necessarily feel like I do that just because I don't want to hold my mind and myself hostage of thinking like the extreme.
Yeah.
For like a cold, and it's like, it may like pass like, send like a flag up, like a little alert, like, but then it's just like, okay, I just push that in the back of my mind because I don't want to think or have that on me. And like, even with like other things, like I'll go straight to Google and start Googling things and symptoms and everything. And I have to like, like I have to like pull back and be like, no, okay, let me just go to the professional and see what's wrong, because it's just like, you can really worry yourself thinking and trying to diagnose your child or you off of an illness.
Dr. Google. I think everybody do that. I learned like when Leah got sick and, you got to hurry up and catch yourself up to speed, when your child going through stuff like that, because you don't really understand the terminology. So I went to a lot of Dr. Google trying to find things on the internet, and it's like scary.
Yeah.
It's so much information out there that is like really scary because it's not all wisdom. Like it's just information, like information can be correct or incorrect, right? It's just out there for you to read. So I learned a long time ago, like, don't be going on Google trying to diagnose your child. So that's why we took her to the doctor. But just mentally, I don't know when I'm going to get to a point where it's just like, I don't think like this anymore. Because it's hard. No matter how much I try, like when it first took over my mind, I'm like, come on, Devin, like snap out of this. But then when she kept having fevers, I'm like, damn, bro, like we going to get something. They going to tell us something crazy, or maybe the doctor's missing something. Like when you come back and you think that the doctor tell you it's a virus, it should pass in a couple of days, it gives you peace of mind. But a lot of people don't know when we initially took Leah to the doctors, to her pediatrician, they said she was good, sent her home. So it's like, I don't really be trusting what doctors be saying because I know they're not specifically looking for cancer or something like that. That they're looking for colds or something like that. So I don't know, man. Just pray for me, y'all.
Yes. But thankfully, Aria's good. She's back in daycare. Even throughout the week of her being sick, you guys, she was still playing and just being like, she had all this energy, but she was just like under the weather. So
she want to be kissing on us and stuff, trying to eat our food. I'm like, that's what I mean by she just joined in on the nastiness. Cause I'm like, yo, like, how do you tell? Like, she don't like, okay. She knows she's sick, but she don't know she's sick. Right. She don't know that like it could be contagious. So she still want to come and kiss on you. And then you can't turn your baby away and be like, no, you can't kiss right now. Cause she going to look at you crazy. Like, what you mean? What's
wrong with me?
Like, what you mean I can't eat your food? So I don't even know, but we didn't get sick. So I guess that's a good sign. But
so thankfully everything's good. And we back on track for this week. So before we get into it, we have our question from a real one. So today's question, you guys, it says, can you guys discuss the importance of a man or woman complimenting, hyping up, or boosting their partner? How that can positively affect the relationship and create a great space and healthy atmosphere, when with less doubt and insecurity, especially when they have been disloyal. So I think that's a good question. I feel like it's important, definitely important, regardless of if your partner's been loyal or disloyal or has been cheating or anything, for you to be able to compliment your partner and like boost them, hype them up. Like, they want to hear that. Anybody want to hear that, right? And especially from your partner, because it's like, okay, I put something on, I'm looking cute, I do my hair, everything. If you're not paying attention to your partner, somebody else is going to pay attention to them, right? So I would rather for my man to be able to say, oh, babe, you look good, and notice those things that I'm doing, to catch his eye.
They better not be paying attention to you. I don't know what you talking about. But no, I agree. I think that life is so draining. Like the world is so draining. You walk outside, and the moment you just walk outside, it's like, it's draining, especially if you live in Houston. That sun hits you, it's draining, right? You go to work, it's draining. You may be doing something at work. You may be giving it your all your effort. Your boss not noticing. Your superiors not noticing. So then when you come home, it's just like, yo, you need somebody to pour into you after you done went through so much throughout the day. You need somebody to notice you when you go, because when you go off to work, nobody notices you there. So it's very important for your partner to just see you. Like people would want to feel seen. People want to feel appreciated, especially like if your love language is words of affirmation. If you're not getting fed that, your partner's not pouring into your emotional tank and just telling you how much they appreciate you, telling you how much they love you, telling you how much they believe in you, then it can go sour. So I think it's very important for partners to pour into each other, especially if you're dealing with infidelity in your relationship. Like insecurity just basically means you're not secure in your situation. Excuse that. You're not secure in your situation. So your partner being able to pour those words into you, but they're also complemented with action, can help heal those wounds in your relationship when you're dealing with infidelity. And that's something that we had to do in our relationship as well. But those are the two you got to focus on. If you're dealing with some type of insecurity in your relationship, infidelity, or if your love language is words of affirmation, you got to make sure that you're pouring into your partner.
Yeah, I think it's big that you said that as well, because it's just like not just the physical that you're complimenting on, but just pouring into them. You know, like you said, that's important, because you may go out and think that, you know, feel down one day and no one sees it, right? You're just you have on this mask, you go out in the world, you have on your cape, you thinking like, okay, I'm just gonna go into this world positive, right? But you may not feel that on the inside. So just having your partner there that's attuned with you, and like they know, okay, I know that right now you may be putting on a mask and covering up what's going on, because I'm here with you and I know what you're going through. And I'm going to compliment you and I'm going to boost you up and let you know how great of a person you are, so that when you do go out there that you feel your best self. So I think that's very important to do.
And I think that's the importance of just being attuned with your partner, because you'll be able to see that they're not themselves before they even tell you.
Right.
Like, you notice something is wrong. Like, I constantly do check-ins with Asha. Like, I just be like, yo, how you feeling about this? How you feeling about that? Because I know that sometimes she may be going through things mentally. She may not talk about it, but because I know where she's at in her life and what's going on, I just check in with her to see how things are going. So if you like in tune with your partner, you'll be able to see, you know, when they need that word of affirmation, when they need you to pour into them, because they're just so drained by life. So, man, make sure you do those check-ins, because it's so important, man. Like, it's the best feeling in the world when you know that somebody cares about you. Yeah. You ain't got to tell them that something wrong. They just know that something wrong, and they just care enough to try to do the things to make you feel better, to put a smile on your face. So
so if y'all are listening, if you care about someone, you love somebody, go check in on them. Just ask them, how is your day going? How are you feeling today? Yeah. You know,
and don't, and if you receiving that, don't give the surface level answers like, I'm good.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, I'm okay. And a lot of times we do that because it's the easiest thing to say. We don't want to be a burden on certain people. But if somebody asks you, first of all, when you ask somebody how they're doing, stop. Because a lot of times we do that in passing. Like, hey, how you doing? Like, no, stop and find out how that person is really doing. Like, people are going through a lot of things right now. You send that text message, you make that phone call, really be intentional about being there and being a sounding board and allowing somebody to really express what they're going through, because everybody needs that right now with what's going on in this world.
Yes. So you guys, getting into today's topic,
we got any announcements? One announcement. Yeah. We almost at that 100K milestone on Instagram.
Okay.
So if y'all not following us on Instagram, but I know all y'all are, because y'all real ones, you know what I mean? Make sure that you go follow our Instagram, Real Relationships Podcast. Go send it to one of your friends, your family members, somebody who's in a relationship, somebody thinking about getting a relationship, somebody who's being successfully single. Absolutely. Just send this over to them as a resource to really just learn the tools and the skills in order to create flourishing relationships. But man, we appreciate everybody who's helped us build up this platform, helped us build up this community, because we feel like it's really making an impact based off the comments and the messages we receive from you guys. So we're just going to continue to make that impact, and we couldn't do it without y'all.
Yep. So in today's podcast, you guys, we are talking about laying your spiritual foundation in your relationship, right?
That's a question we get a lot.
So a lot of people ask, like you said, especially with us starting our weekly Bible study about our spiritual journey and our connection that we have with God. And I thought it was important. Well, we both thought it was important for us to really dive a little bit deeper into why it's so important for us and why we think it's so important in a relationship to have that foundation. So let's get into it.
Yeah. So I'll kick it off. For me, it wasn't always important. Like, I always believed in God, but I never really had a relationship with God. And I didn't really understand the importance of having a personal relationship with him. And I didn't really understand the importance of having him as the center of your marriage, right? A relationship. So just give y'all a little history. Like, I didn't grow up in the church. Like I said, I believed in God, but I ain't really go to church. That's not what my family did. And it wasn't, and I kind of like stayed away from Christians because I just felt like they were so judgmental. I felt like the church was just like really judgmental, always looking down on people who may not have been in a certain place in their walk of faith. And I didn't really like that. And I didn't really get back into church until my second year in the NFL. And the reason why I decided to get back into church and build a relationship with God is because, my second year, I was battling a lot of injuries. I had dislocated my elbow against the Lions. And then like 2 weeks after I dislocated not 2 weeks. I didn't make it back in 2 weeks, but I rehabbed for 5 weeks to get back out on the football field. 2 weeks after that, I blew out my back against the Steelers, and I had to get season-ending back surgery. And then a week after that, I almost died from blood clots. And I was just going through a lot of stuff in my life, and Asha brought it up to me. She was like, man, maybe we need to get back into church. Like maybe we need to try this faith journey because there's so many things that are happening in your life that maybe you're missing something from your life. And it hit me when she said that, because I realized I was in a dark place in my life, and I knew that darkness is not an actual thing. Like you can't measure darkness. Yeah. Like darkness is an absence of light. And I just felt like I was missing light, some form of light from my life. So I agreed to, go back to church. Me and Asha took this journey together. We ended up, deciding to get baptized together, which was my first time getting baptized. And we just wanted to take this journey serious. And then a couple of months after that, that's when Leah got diagnosed with cancer. So, I felt like it was perfect timing that we got back into church. It was a struggle because, of course, with a faith that's not really deep rooted, I kind of like questioned God a lot during that time because we give our life to God, and then now my daughter's life is in jeopardy of being taken. It didn't really sit well with me, but I realized if Asha didn't reintroduce me to the church, then I wouldn't have had any foundation at all to really lean back on to give me the strength to make it through those dark times. And, that was just how we started it. I'll let Asha give a little backstory about, her relationship growing up, but then we'll touch on, why we decide to really try to build that relationship within our own relationship.
Yeah. So to take you back, really back a little bit, you guys. So I, somewhat, not as much as Devin, I didn't necessarily grow up in the church. But I had spiritual, my family was spiritual. My grandparents, my grandmother, she went to church. So a lot of times when we was with her, we would go to church with her. She would pray. We would, listen to gospel music. So it was around us, but it wasn't like really enforced. And so I had a spiritual connection with God. I understood who God was. I understood Jesus and the Bible and the stories, but it wasn't like I was deep rooted in it. Right. And so it was times throughout my childhood where I would seek learning about God in a sense, just because, like I said, it was around me and I didn't have a deep understanding. I feel like a lot of times children in general, they just want to know so much, right? So you may tell them something and they want to know more. Like they're so fascinated. And so I found myself a lot of times, I remember actually, I think my grandmother or maybe one of my grandmothers, they actually gifted me with a children's Bible. And that's when it really started my journey with wanting to learn more about God and my spiritual foundation. I had the same Bible, you guys, in Arias Playroom. But that's kind of what sparked my spiritual journey. And so from there, I was, going through the Bible. I wasn't really reading it because I was young, but I would look at the pages and try to understand it. But somewhere throughout those years, I kind of fell off, kind of slipped away. I actually, I got the Holy Ghost, okay? When I was younger, okay? I was my grandmother's friend. She was very much into church and everything like that. And she was praying over me in her kitchen, I believe. And it was around the time where I was, like I said, I was just trying to learn more about it. And I got the Holy Spirit just came over me and I got the Holy Ghost, and that was just a journey in itself. And I wasn't even like, I didn't even know, but I felt like it was like a renewed me in this like childhood mind. I'm like, trying to understand what it was. But like I said, throughout my journey of life, it was like, I kind of, swayed away here and there, but I always knew that I had a deep connection, and I always knew I had a deep connection with God, and I always tried to, lean on that during the times of need more than I should have leaned on. I should have leaned on it, in both ways, but it was a struggle. But like you said, I feel like I always wanted to come back. It was always something where it was like I needed to come back to God. And so when, like Devin said, we was going through the ups and downs, the emotions in our relationship. He was going through so much with his, like he said, injuries, and then with Leah getting diagnosed. And I was just like, it's so much negativity surrounding us right now. Like I felt like it was almost like we needed that anchor.
Yeah. Because
it's like, I can only think of it in an analogy of like, okay, like we was just in a storm, right? Like in the storm of storms, right? The boat seemed like it's not even gonna make it. Okay, it don't even seem like it was built for a storm, and so it was just like, so.
It was on the Titanic, and you was the old lady on the thing, and I'm in the water drowning.
I can't, freezing. Jack.
It was a bad storm.
I can't. But yes, it was terrible. And so I feel like if we didn't have that anchor at that time where we was just like, what, we're going to lay the foundation so that we can start to really build our relationship and build up the walls around us and make sure that we're, building this spiritual foundation for our lives, then we ain't gonna make it. No. So that's what started our journey.
And for me, I needed it because for two things. Number one, like I've accomplished a lot of things in my life. Like I've been able to obtain a lot of things, but I've had issues sustaining it over a long period of time. And this is just me moving through life on my own understanding.
Right.
And I realized taking this step to get married, like I tell people all the time, the goal is never to just get married. The goal is to sustain your marriage.
Right.
So if you haven't acquired the knowledge, the skills, and the ability to sustain things in your life, it's going to be kind of hard to make a marriage last. So I needed to do something different in my life. I needed a higher power to really guide me through my life, because this is not something that I want to obtain and then lose a few years later. Like this is a lifetime commitment that I'm giving myself to. So that was number one. Number two was, what was I about to say? I just drew a blank. Oh, I was living life reckless. Maybe I drew a blank because I ain't really going to touch on this. But I was living life reckless. Like I was living life reckless in college. NFL, I was living life reckless. Like,
you need to say it 5 more times.
That's how
I was living life reckless.
I don't really want to get into details about my reckless behaviors.
Yeah.
But I feel like, if I say it more than one time, you would get the point that I was living my life
reckless.
There we go. Oh, I feel like I'm about to give a sermon. No, but I knew that I couldn't break away from who I was by myself. Like there needed to be a purpose for me to walk away from this life that's so enticing. Like being a professional athlete and what it comes with is very enticing. Like you get to live the life that you create for yourself.
Right.
So it would be hard for me to remove my flesh from that. When I started to build a relationship with God, I'm not going to say that it became easier, but it became possible. And I struggled along that journey. Like I often question if I'm too lost, if I'm too far gone to really walk this path and try to build a relationship with God. Because I like I said, I just feel like a lot of people, I'm not going to say a lot of Christians because I don't know a lot of Christians, but many Christians that I know are very judgmental. So I'm like, yo, can I really walk this path if I feel like I keep taking, steps back? And, one thing I heard TD Jake say that really helped me along that journey, he was like that sinners don't sin, they just do. So the fact that I'm actually struggling with the path that I'm going on means that I'm being pulled by a higher power. to leave the lifestyle that I was living. And it was so true, because when I was doing what I was doing, I didn't think twice about it.
Yeah.
Like, this is just my life. Like, this is what I want to do. I was out here having fun. But like, when I gave my life to God, it was just like, okay, the things that I was doing didn't just automatically stop. Like, things in my life didn't automatically get better, but it was like I was awakened to the things that I was doing and the negative impact it was having on my life, but also the people I love and care about.
Yeah.
So it was just like, I needed that for me in order to become who I am today, in order to become the best dad I can be, in order to become the best husband I can be, in order to become the best leader that I can be. I needed covering over my life so that I knew how to cover the people that I would be leaving, or the people that would be dependent on me.
Yeah. I think you touched on a good point, but I think I just wanted to reference it towards relationships, because you said a lot of times the Christians that you knew or you had met was very judgmental, right? And I feel like in your relationship, you can experience that as well. Just because when you're walking your spiritual journey, especially as a couple, you're still walking it as an individual, right? So it's intentional for you to, you know, make those connections and make those moments together where you're connecting with God and having a better understanding of his word, but you're also walking along that path by yourself, right? And so I feel like sometimes, like, you can be in a relationship, and we've talked to, you know, some couples where they experience this as well, where one person may feel like they're further along on their journey and they're trying to get that person that they're with to catch up in a sense, or have that understanding or that connection where they feel like they're at. But I feel like so many people have to understand that that relationship that you're building with God is for you, right? So we have to also have those moments in that alone time where we're having that understanding and making that personal connection and development with God by ourselves, right? Because it's not just about, oh, well, my partner, you know, we're doing this together. We're praying together, or we're reading the Bible together, or we're, like I said, we're walking down this path with us getting baptized together. That was something that we decided to do together. But it may be a couple out there where it's like the one person is, you know, further ahead with their relationship, and it's like, okay, I want to get baptized. And your partner may just be at the beginning of their, you know, journey, and they're like, okay, I'm not there yet. And you may be looking at them with like, why? Or what do I need to do to convince you that I want you to take this step with me, or this, what needs to happen, right? And I feel like it's important for us not to force someone along their journey, but give them grace and allow them to really walk that path by themselves.
And even more important, give them the example.
Yeah.
Like, if you taking that walk, if you decided to take that walk, like, you don't need to pull somebody with you. Like, they'll see things change, because like your life changes, man. Like, when I tell y'all that your life changes when you take that step, the people closest to you will notice this, right? And they'll be like, man, like, they having this type of success. This is happening for them. They seem happier. They seem like they just have a covering over them. Like, their life is divine. Like, I want that. Tell me how you get that, right? And then they'll come along on their journey. The same thing when it comes to like this podcast. I know we've got certain, you know, reviews on the thing where it's like, oh, I love y'all podcast, but please don't, you know, bring God into it. And it's just like, we created this platform to share what we're doing in our relationship.
Yeah.
What has worked for us. Like, we're not putting it on you that you need to do this. You need to follow what we follow. Nah. Like, y'all are tuning into this podcast because y'all want to hear some of the things that we're doing in order to create a strong, healthy relationship between us. And we're putting that information out there for you if you want to use it. But it's not like it's pressuring you to do certain things. If y'all want to have, and I don't even want to say have the type of relationship we have, because I don't want to put it out there like we have the perfect relationship. But if y'all are interested in doing what we doing, you know, being able to build up a strong family, being able to build up a strong marriage, then these are the steps we took to do it. And it's up to you in order to make that decision on what you want to do. But like I said, I just think that it's very important. Just be the example. You don't got to force your partner to take that step with you.
Yeah. I think, like you said, with that, it's just kind of accepting the influence of your partner, but like allowing them to make those decisions on their own.
Right.
So it's like, if they're up here, I'm gonna catch up. I'm gonna follow and I'm gonna take that lead, but I want to walk this journey, you know, this way. And I think that's something that we also go through in our relationship, because there's times where, you know, Devin may be watching a video and he's getting, you know, his Bible study, he's getting it together, he's learning something, and I may not be doing what he's doing at that moment, but I'm listening, you know, to my music, or I'm trying to pray, take 15, 20 minutes out of my day to just sit and talk to God. And so I think for a lot of couples, they look at it, or they may see couples that's like in this space, or compare their relationship to couples that's in this space. And it's just like, you don't know that person's journey. You don't know that couple's journey. You don't know that person's journey. So don't base, especially when it comes to your spiritual relationship with God, don't base it on someone else. Yeah. Your relationship with God is not identical to anyone else. I think that's the beauty of it, is that all of us have a very unique relationship with God, if that's what you seek, right? Yeah. And so just making sure that you're doing things that's intentional for you, but also being able to relate it to your relationship. Like, hey, you know, I did this today, right, and this is what worked for me, or this is what works for us, or whatever the case may be. But I think that's very important. So just for us, just to kind of give like a few steps or whatever, helpful tips of what we did or what we're doing to try to, you know, continue to build our spiritual foundation, because like we say all the time, we not completely there. You know, I feel like no one's ever
there. I ain't listening,
but I feel like no one's ever honestly completely there. I feel like just with life in general, we're always evolving, we're always learning. Flawed. It's so much to learn though. And so it's just like, along this journey, you may be at this point of your relationship, but you can always learn more. You can always grow and develop and have a better relationship. You can have a better foundation. And so I think that's what we're constantly striving towards. So just to give a few tips of what we do to be helpful. You want to go first?
No, you can go first.
So I would say the biggest thing for us so far has been praying together. Mm-hmm. And I think us just trying to be more intentional with just making that time to pray together. I think it's important, because we'll take time out to pray for ourselves or pray by ourselves. But I think it's so powerful when we come together and just, you know, knees down to the ground, on our knees, heads bowed, and just we're really praying to God and being intentional with our prayers and letting each other know that, you know, we're here together. We're trying to do this together. And just to hear your partner pray for you, mm-hmm, it's like so moving, right? Because it's just like, oh, I know when I'm by myself, I pray for my husband, or I know when you're by yourself, you pray for me or your wife or whoever's listening. But it's just to be in that moment and to hear those words is so powerful. And so I think that's something that we are constantly striving to do, is just making sure that we're intentional with praying together, because it just lifts you up and it makes you feel so encouraged in those moments. Yeah.
And lets you know that your partner's in tune with what's going on in your life. Because there'll be times where, you know, me and Asha are praying and she'll just start praying for me. And it's just like she's hitting on every area in which I need strengthened because I may be feeling weak. So it just lets you know that you feel seen, like your partner knows what's really going on in your life. You touched on earlier about how it's important to really do things as individuals too, to seek, you know, a relationship with God as a unit, but also seek it individually. Yeah. So for me, it was just like really diving into the word, understanding like what my role is as a man, as a husband, has really just opened up my eyes, because really I just had a surface level understanding of what it takes to really be a good husband, what it takes to really be a good dad, what it takes to really be a good leader. So just really taking out the time to actually study things has helped me out a lot. And for those of you maybe going on the journey or on your journey, or you're thinking about going on a journey, like it's a scary journey. Yeah, it's a real scary journey, especially like when you crack open the Bible. Sometimes you be looking at it like, what are you talking about? You start reading people names, you just skip over the whole section that's he is the son of Jacob, the son of, you know, all this other stuff. It's just like, yo, what do y'all be talking about? But like when you take the scripture and then you go online and you may have a favorite pastor that you want to listen to that can help you really break it down, or you just pray for understanding that the wisdom be revealed to you as you are reading God's word. it helps you out a lot, but it's going to take a lot of effort. It's going to be a lot of frustration. You may start off trying to read the Bible every day and then you fall off a month past, you didn't crack open a book or open up your Bible app. Like, it's okay. Just continue on that path. Continue to seek him and you will start to see things change in your life.
Yeah. I think another thing, and what you touched on reading the Bible, that's another thing that helps us, or that we're doing now to try to help us with our foundation, is just having our weekly Bible studies, right? Because we had, like we said it before, plenty of times, we had got our couples devotional Bible as a wedding gift. And it literally sat there on the dresser for so long, just like collecting dust. Yes, like just like a cute little, you know, decor. And I'm like, okay, we both come to the realization that it's probably beneficial for us to open this book and really have a better understanding. And so that's why we decided to use our platform just to share what we're learning and reading from the Bible with all of you guys, because I think it's important for us, like we said, to have that foundation, to have a better understanding. And it, like Devin said, at times you'll open it up and you're trying to read like the scripture and really interpret what it's saying. Man. And it's just like, okay, you get discouraged sometimes because it's just like, how am I applying this to my life? Like, how am I understanding it? But like I said, I think that's the benefit of just constantly trying to, you know, absorb the word and have a better understanding of it. And like you said, finding resources and listen to different things, because you can hear what you're reading that you may be having a struggle with trying to understand. Right. You can hear that story, or, you know, that verse or that interpretation through someone else who's better versed in the Bible. Right. And so you having that, it gives you that courage and that, you know, understanding of, okay, now I can do this. You know, if I'm seeking the internet, like we said, Google, you can literally search anything on Google, right? So if you are struggling in those areas, just to search a video or search something, a credible source,
right, just backed by scripture,
right, that can tell you what that scripture means, so that you can be able to understand it and live by it. And I think that's what we're trying to do. And so another thing in our relationship that's helping us to build our foundation is just having those Bible studies, because we're learning by reading it and we're trying to interpret it and apply it to our lives, but also from you guys being able to read it and, you know, share your ideas and your thoughts on everything like that. So I think that's really big to do. If you're, you know, have a church home that has a Bible study, if you don't, if you can find somewhere, a community online, or if not, join ours, you know, join Wednesday. Right. Every Wednesday, join our
Eastern time.
Bible study. And it's not just for couples. Y'all know we say our couples devotional because we promote relationships. But if you're single, like Devin said, successfully single, you're welcome to join, because we just want everyone to have that foundation. I think it's important. Like I said before, you're on that journey, not only in a relationship, but you're on that journey by yourself. So that's really big. And I feel like that's something that's been able to help us as well with building our foundation.
What do you think building that relationship with God has helped you? How has it changed you as a woman, a mom, wife, leader?
You know, I feel like it really has molded me to be the woman that I saw the potential of when I was younger. Like, it was a lot. And it's so crazy that you ask that, because it was a lot of times when I was younger and I would sit and I would wonder, like, what would I be like as a woman when I get older, right? In my early 20s, how would I exude, you know, a certain type of energy, and, you know, what would I, like, everything. Like, I always thought about that as, like, in my younger years. And so now I feel like just having that relationship with God and constantly trying to build a better relationship and a better understanding, I feel like it has made me embody all of those things that I'll strive to be and wanted to be as a woman, to be like, okay, that's you. Yeah. Like, you know, you're setting that example. You are who you wanted to be. Like, I wouldn't say I was wild and crazy, but, you know, I was just living my life.
Living life like me. Oh, so it wasn't as bad as you got to keep repeating it like I was.
No, it wasn't that bad. But I wasn't intentional with my life. Like, you know, I didn't really have a clear vision of what I wanted for my life. I didn't have, in a sense, I feel like we all have purpose, but I felt like, what was my purpose? I didn't feel like I really had that much purpose, because I wasn't being intentional with the decisions that I was making and how I was living my life. And I feel like now, being more grounded and having that relationship, it has made me feel like, okay, I'm finding myself. You know, I feel like I found myself to a point, but like I said, it's always a journey. But I feel more secure with the woman that I am now because of my relationship with God.
It's crazy you say that. Like, life can really beat you up to the point where you feel like you don't have no purpose anymore. Yeah. And if you're not intentional about, you know, trying to find, not even trying to find you. I want to be clear. Like, I'm not even talking about finding your purpose, because finding your purpose is basically saying your purpose lays outside of you, right? Like, your purpose lays within you, and we must manifest our purpose. We must bring about our purpose. Like, we were born because of purpose. We weren't born to find our purpose, right? And I think that, you know, trying to get a closer relationship with God lets you know just how purposeful your life is. Yeah. It lets you know how you're that piece that fits to his puzzle or his plan for the world. So just building it, man, it just gives you so much. And like I said, I needed it because I was in an extreme dark place. Like, you talk about struggling with injuries, questioning, you know, about your career, how long your career going to last because you can't stay on the field because you're constantly being injured, to literally, when I say almost dying from blood clots, like literally almost dying, like to the point where if I didn't do certain things that day, Asha would have came back to the hotel to me laying dead inside of our bed. Like, I was that close to death. To your child battling cancer, and then you're in the hospital where you not only see your child fighting for her life, but all these children on the floor fighting for their life. Like, that type of stuff, it changes you completely when you see how many kids are fighting just for a chance to live. Yeah. Like, I know we go through a lot of things as adults. We go through a lot of struggles, bills, heartbreak, like everything. And sometimes we just like, man, my life don't have purpose. I just want to give up. But I'm telling you, when you are on that cancer floor and you look at those kids, they would trade places with you for all your struggles in a heartbeat. For all the pain that you're going through, all the struggles, the bills, the heartache that you're going through, they would trade places with you for a chance to experience that struggle as an adult. So it's just like, it makes you understand that you can't really take life for granted. But I know that if you didn't bring me back to the church when you did, I don't know where I would be. Yeah. I don't know where I would be because I was in a crazy place.
So what do you feel like is the most rewarding thing that you've received from or since building that relationship with God?
His strength. His strength. Hands down, because I felt so weak at times. Like, we talked about it before, like sitting in front of a liquor store, really just thinking about taking a bottle to the head. Yeah. To try to take away my pain, and you being there telling me not to do it, not to even walk down that road. Like, it's not even he gave me the strength through him, but he gave me strength through you. Like, I felt like I met you. Like, I felt like our relationship was ordained. Like, this may sound cliche, but me and you got the same birthday, same year, born in the same, raised in the same place. I feel like you were made for me. That's how I truly feel. And I feel like me and you crossed paths at the right time because God knew that I needed you. Yeah. Because I often think about this. I was living life reckless, right? So if I would have went through these hard times and me living the life that I was living, I knew I'm a great catch, right?
Great catch.
But I know those women don't care about me. You wasn't looking for me when I was broke in the hood growing up in Wilmington. You ain't care about me. You know what I mean? Y'all cared about me when I signed the money and I was able to do what I was doing. So by meeting you, I found somebody who truly cared about me. Didn't care about what I could do for them, but just truly cared about who I was. And you wanted to add value to my life. It wasn't all about what value I can add to your life. And you held me down. And I understand that if I didn't meet you when I did, I wouldn't have had nobody to really be that person to hold me up when I was down. Yeah. Like, you know, like, we went through some crazy times.
Yeah, we did.
Like insane.
Yeah.
Like you can look back at it now and laugh, but when we was in the thick of things, we was like, yo, how we gonna make it through this?
Yeah. But I think like you said, I think that what you just said of just being able to go through that storm and see and make it out on the other side and just be like, you know what? That was God. But to live that testimony, that is why we are where we are at today. And that is why we continue to try to strive for greatness and strive to build this foundation in this relationship, because we've been through the storm. We've been at rock bottom, and we've seen just the glory that God has just poured over our lives and like in abundance in so many ways. And so that's why I feel like it's so important for us to continue to build this relationship. But like I said, not only to do that, but to share our testimony and our story of how real and how true and how beautiful and precious and amazing, okay, I can continue on, God is, and how he's covered us in so many ways. And so that's why I just thought it was important. We both thought it was important to just share how the importance of laying that foundation in your relationship, because in life you're going to go through so many storms. You're going to go through so many obstacles in your relationship. Personally by yourself is just like, that's a part of life. And just having that, you know, that anchor, that foundation where when things get rocky, you know that you on solid ground, you planted 10 toes down, that it's going to help you along that way. It's going to give you that strength to keep going in times when you feel like you want to give up. And so that's why we wanted to, you know, record this episode for you guys, just to let you know that, you know, it's hard. It's hard to do, but to get through it, wake up in life and you're going through challenges and, you know, things is just being thrown at you left and right. But when you have that foundation, when you have that covering over you, you just know God's going to carry you through.
Yeah, you'll make it through whatever you go through.
Yeah.
Like they're saying, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. It's not saying that, you know, weapons won't be formed against you. It's not saying that weapons won't be formed against your marriage, but it's just saying that it won't prosper because you'll lean on him and he'll be able to be that covenant, be that protection for you and your family. So we hope that this episode blessed y'all. Like I said, it's not to force anything down y'all throat, but it's just to give y'all inside look of what we're trying to do in order to break generational cycles in our relationship. Because I never saw a relationship besides online or something where, you know, God was at the center of somebody's relationship. So it's us trying to do something out of our norm than we normally did or what we saw growing up, because we want to be able to break those cycles and show our family that we can do this.
Yes. That
nothing's wrong with us. We was just misguided, didn't have the right information, but now we're trying to do something different, raise the bar. Hopefully our kids raise the bar after us, and we just going to continue to try to flourish and try to be the example for our family. And for those of you who, you know, are looking to us for guidance.
Yes. So I hope you guys enjoy this episode. And until next time, you guys, keep it real.
Yes, sir.